Evening, future techies. My name is Ryne Kerchner. I'm the Associate Director of Recruitment here for the Polytechnic Institute at Purdue University. And I want to welcome you to our Computer and Information Technology Department broadcast, or as we refer to it, CNIT. This will give you some more insight and details about the majors in that department, the ones you're admitted to, and hopefully give you a better insight about the experiences that you can expect to have when you're here on campus with us at the Polytechnic. Tonight's broadcast is actually going to resemble similar to what you would have experienced if you came to campus for a Purdue for Me or one of the Polytechnic admitted student days. We have some academic advisors, faculty members, and some students with us tonight who are going to kind of share their experiences and give you that detail that you want to know about this department specifically. If you haven't listened to one of our broadcasts before, you have the opportunity to actually interact with us and ask some questions through the YouTube chat function. So all you got to do is sign in with your Google account and type those questions into that chat. We'll pull those questions out and ask those to our panelists, but we also have some students in the chat who are going to respond to those questions when they can. The other opportunity that you have is to send us an email at techrecruit@purdue.edu. So if we don't get to your question tonight, please send us an email through that email address and we'll respond to that later on as well. So with that, I'm going to have our panelists introduce themselves. And so we'll go ahead and start with Adit.
It's going to go great. So I'm a technical major. I just drew that up. But my name is Adit Mukherjee. I'm a junior in the CIT department. Yeah. Then also on the student council as a treasurer. It's been a great time.
All right. Thank you very much. And then Andrea.
Hi, everyone. I'm Andrea. My major is CIT General. I have a minor in business. I'm part of the CIT Council too. I'm the activities head chair.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much. And then Angie. Oh, Angie, you're muted. Hold on. There you go.
Hi, I'm Angie Murphy. I'm a senior academic advisor in computer and information technology. I have been with Purdue. This is my 25th year. I love helping students navigate their majors, Purdue University, and just any other question that could come up during your stay with us at Purdue University. So we're glad you're with us. We're sorry you're not with us in person.
All right, thanks, Angie. And then Jason.
Oh, hey everyone, I'm Jason Arisa, and I'm a sophomore in System Analysis and Design, which is also part of CIT department with a minor in management. And I'm also working in the CIT Council as the System Analysis and Design representative.
All right, thank you very much. And Lauren?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lauren, and I'm an advisor in computer and information technology. I've been at Purdue about 7 years, but I am newer to the computer and information technology department. Been here since October, but I was with the Dean of Students office prior to this. Excited to see everyone this fall.
All right, thank you very much. And Matt?
Hi, everyone. My name is Matthew Thomas. I'm a junior here at Purdue University, and I'm in CIT General, but I'm also a double major in Cranert and a minor in political science. I'm the president of the CIT Student Council.
Great, thank you very much. And Phil?
Hi, everyone. Phil Rawles, Associate Head for Academic Affairs and Facilities at CIT. Been here for 20 years, teach specifically in networking, infrastructure, and network security.
All right, thank you very much. And last but certainly not least, Taylor.
Hi, everyone. My name's Taylor, and I'm a junior studying cybersecurity with a minor in communication. And I'm the cybersecurity representative on the CIT Student Council.
All right, great. So we have quite the panel with us tonight. Going to hear a lot from them. So with that, I would just want to start with a quick announcement. In case you haven't seen President Mitch Daniels' announcement last week, I believe it was, he sent a letter out to the Purdue community and all those interested in coming here that Purdue is planning on having on-campus operations this fall semester. Certainly that's going to come with some adjustments to logistics and operations, just to make sure everybody's safe and healthy. So keep an eye on your email for those changes and those decisions and how they're made. Hopefully we'll see those coming up in the next month or so. But yeah, just keep an eye on that. And with that, I just want to start with Angie to kind of talk about what the the virtual STAR process is going to look like. So normally students would come to campus for a day and meet with their academic advisor, go through that pre-registration process. But Angie's going to kind of walk us through what virtual STAR is going to look like for CIT department.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan. As Ryan said, all STAR activities, all orientation activities will be conducted virtually this summer. We have a great group of advisors, and we're learning all kinds of new technical ways to make that happen and be creative so that it can be a personal experience for you all, even though it's being conducted virtually. Beginning about mid-May, we will start making advising assignments. You will be assigned to a dedicated advisor from the time your pre-freshman time until you're a senior graduating from CIT. And then beginning June 1st, we'll start the advising virtual appointments. So as Ryan said, please do watch your Purdue emails because we have a wonderful system in place in which we can schedule appointment times for you. It's called Boiler Connect. So just watch all of your emails to see who your dedicated advisor will be and watch for that appointment time during STAR. You'll do a university virtual STAR, which will walk you through all the university related activities such as registration, different systems that you'll use while you're here. And then you'll do a second meeting with your department, which will talk about your majors, any courses that you have taken prior to attending Purdue, such as dual credit, AP credit, and we'll work with you individually to see if we can move you forward and count any of those credits or any transfer credits. By the end of your virtual STAR appointment, you will be requesting your course requests. However, all students at Purdue will receive their schedule mid-July. Around July 16th, that's when you'll receive the times and days of the classes that you'll actually be attending this fall.
All right, anything else to add? And I think that about covers it, right?
I think so.
Okay, cool.
Stay tuned. We'll be in touch.
Yeah. Well, Angie, we're actually going to stick with you and kind of start our questions, kind of related to plans of study, registering for courses. So what are the kind of the core courses, the shared courses amongst the majors in this department?
Awesome. Yes, we do have quite a list of courses that all students take. It's called our CIT core. That consists of 3 programming courses: an introduction to architecture, introduction to database, introduction to cyber forensics, introduction to architecture, systems administration, and 2 systems analysis and design classes. And that is common among all 4 of our majors, as well as a globalization course, which covers policy, regulation, and globalization aspects. And then students, the last course that's all in common on all 4 majors is our senior management of information technology projects, which Professor Rawles will talk about in more detail later. I do want to stress that we do have 4 majors in our program. However, the first year can look exactly the same. There are some courses that are freshman level courses that are not in one of our majors. However, when you meet with us during Virtual STAR, we will recommend that you don't take that course. And that way you have the ability to change majors and not lose any coursework.
All right, very cool, excellent. And then Lauren, I believe you're going to kind of share with us a little bit more about the math requirements for the CIT department as well.
Yes, so we do require 2 math classes, Calculus 1, Calculus 2, and then a statistics class as well for all of our students, regardless of which plan of study you're on. For calculus, we do applied calculus. We do, if you've been looking at the plans of study, that's MA 16010 and MA 16020. Although we recognize a lot of our students come in with AP or dual credit for other versions of calculus, because as you can imagine, there are several different versions of calculus at Purdue. So we'll certainly work with you guys on what does that look like. Kind of like Angie was talking about, we have a lot of AP and dual credit, so we'll go over that individually. But you can check it out on our website as well, because we do have a list of classes that commonly come in there, such as MA 165 and 166, or MA 161 and 162. We also recognize, though, that some students are not ready to jump immediately into Calculus 1. and we are totally okay with that. We'll work with you guys on what that looks like. Just make sure as we get closer to STAR or virtual STAR, sorry, you'll get information on the ALEX test. Please make sure you're doing that assessment so we can best place you in regards to math classes.
Lauren, just to follow up on that, is there another way or other ways that students are placed in math courses with us?
Certainly, yes, sorry. You can also, so when the information about ALEX comes out, there will also be information about your stats, I'm sorry, your SAT or ACT scores and how that might look in regards to math. I don't have those numbers directly in front of me right now, but that information is listed on our website. And again, as the ALEX information and STAR information rolls out in greater detail, that will be listed in there. And so we'll work with you guys on what you got on the ALEX or potentially what did you get on your SAT or ACT scores.
All right, great. Thank you for that follow. Appreciate it. And then kind of going a little bit further into plan of study, there's electives or technical selectives that are built into plans of study here in the Polytechnic. How do those get how do students get to choose from those coursework?
Definitely. What a great question, Ryan. So we have two different types of selectives on our plans of study. Well, we like to call selectives and information technology selectives. So the first is going to be your other departmental requirements, not necessarily your core computer information technology classes, but the other courses that are going to help you become a more well-rounded student, such as your math, your stats, economics, things of that sort. A lot of these have some different options when you're looking at what to pick, but then we also have interdisciplinary selectives built into the plans of study that'll allow you to potentially obtain a minor or at least do some other classes to make sure we're dabbling in areas of interest to you that are going to help you after Purdue here. So with that, the systems analysis and design and the computer information technology actually have room for a minor built into them, and that's required for your plan of study. Cybersecurity and network engineering technology don't quite have enough room for a minor built in, but that doesn't mean you can't also obtain a minor. As you heard when everyone was introducing themselves, there's a lot of diversity out there in what you can do with the programs. So as long as you tell us what you're wanting to get out of it, we can certainly work with you on that. But like I said, we also have information technology selectives. So every single plan of study has some different options you can play with. As cyber and network engineering technology are a little more prescribed plans of study, there's not as much flexibility with the information technology selectives, which are like your upper level CIT courses that we have here, as they would be with the computer information or systems analysis design programs. But we'll certainly work with you guys who can kind of dabble in a little bit of everything.
Great, awesome. And actually, I'm going to turn to Matthew and kind of hear about how he built in that. I think you said you do a double majoring and a minor. Is that correct? How does that work with all the coursework you have to do?
Yeah, so I originally came in as a cybersecurity student, and I realized I was like a little more interested in like the data analytics side and wasn't as interested in cybersecurity. So I decided to go have a double major, to switch into general and to have a little more flexibility to be a double major in Krannert, specifically in supply chain information analytics, doing business analytics. So it having the minor did have to add like a little extra time. But because I came in with a good amount of credits, I would have probably graduated early if I just did CIT general. And there was some overlap between some of the classes that I would take for CIT and then for Krannert, such as like my math classes, some of the like the comm selectives, and even some of the business classes that were required to take for IT. And also there was that overlap on the other side of like Excel and CS and all that stuff too. So luckily, due to that, I'm able to graduate at like a reasonable time. Currently 4.5 years as it's looking, and I think that's perfect. And I've been able to get a lot out of it, and I have an internship for data analytics this summer. So
Excellent, very cool. And Andrea, I believe you're doing a minor as well as part of your requirement. What was that minor again? Could you kind of explain how that's built into your study as well?
Yeah, so I'm in CIT general, so that we're required to have a minor in anything we want non-computing related minor. So I chose to have a minor in business management because I'm interested in learning how to do business. So I'm interested in getting some courses of marketing on marketing that will teach me for later. Yeah.
All right, that sounds like a good combination then. And Angie, I'm going to turn back to you and think that you have a little bit more info on how students can help determine what their major or minor, or if they want to do a double major, what that minor, how that works with the plan of study as well.
Awesome. Yes, for sure. We have some documents out on our CIT website. We're very transparent with all information, updates, and we store all that information on CIT registration website. We can share that later, I think, Ryne, when we give them information toward
Yeah,
the
I believe we
end.
have some documents on our admitted student information landing page that kind of links out to that page you're talking about. So I'll refer back to that when we're wrapping up later as well.
Awesome. So if a student wants to double major within the program, there's a lot of course overlap. So if CNIT 272, for example, is required on one plan, it counts for both. Say that there's a systems administration class that's required on your networking course, and it's a little bit different on your cybersecurity. The faculty have developed a worksheet that shows which courses can map directly to meet those requirements. And we will work individually with a student because, as Matt said, he brought in a lot of credit. So we can see how we can map that dual credit to get the student the ability to graduate in a timely fashion. So once the student comes to see us, if they have ideas of what double major they want to pursue, we look at that. We can work with them to see how long that could take for them to finish that double major, as well as maybe sometimes courses are only offered fall only, spring only. We help remind them of those kind of aspects of double majoring. If a student wants to double major in a major outside of the Polytechnic, typically what a student has to do is meet what's called change of degree objectives or dual degree requirements to meet the requirements to pursue that major in another school. We do not control the coursework, the course limits, or any kind of overrides needed for those courses. So we help the student with resources on how do I request these courses if I want to pursue a dual major outside of the Polytechnic. And again, we don't control the spaces in the courses, so that's something that we can help the student determine if it is feasible for them outside of the Polytechnic. But Matt has done it and been very successful with it, but a student does have to be proactive and work with an advisor in another program. And we are all team players with the university, so we try to help make that happen.
All right, excellent. Just had a good question, I think, come out from our chat function here. And Angie, I'm going to stick with you since you're talking right now. What would you recommend as early start students, courses they should take as a cybersecurity major coming to the department?
Awesome. There are some required courses for the early start summer program. Is that what the question was, Ryne?
Yeah. So yeah, doing early start is what would you recommend they take as kind of the starting point for cybersecurity major?
In the early start program, or just to take courses prior to coming to Purdue?
Or early start specifically with Purdue. Yeah.
Okay. There are courses that are required. Usually Tech 120 is one of those courses, and possibly your Intro to Composition, Introduction to Communications, or a Behavioral Social Science course. We do also offer CNIT 180. That's our Introduction to Systems Analysis and Design, also known as our Gateway course. So if we're able to incorporate that into your summer start, you can get a head start on your CIT classes.
Excellent. I think some good recommendations there. Now, Phil, I'm going to turn to you. And we mentioned earlier the senior capstone course. I think it's CNIT 480, as they mentioned. Could you kind of give us a little more detail about what that is and what the students could experience in that?
Sure. Before I talk about that, I want to hit something quickly about what's going on with the majors. And that is one of the nice things about CIT and IT in general is you can really work in any field you want, right? You can't think of anything in this world that doesn't require IT and computers. So if you have a couple of different interests and you're saying, gosh, I really like this, but I love computers, you can get your IT degree and then minor in that other area and perhaps go work in that industry as an IT person and scratch both of those itches at once. That's kind of a unique aspect we have going in the computing field that we don't have everywhere across the university. But particularly when we talk about senior capstones and capstone projects and requirements, CIT does this a little differently than some of our colleagues do across the college. And a lot of that's just driven by necessity. If you look at some of our majors, specifically our infrastructure and networking people and our cybersecurity people, as you can imagine, most companies aren't real excited about putting a project team of college students into their production environments to do a project, even if it is a senior capstone project, for a lot of good reasons. So we have within each of our majors a specific capstone course that kind of puts all of the aspects that come together of a single major together, and then everybody comes together in that 480 managing IT projects course across all of the different majors. So that's an opportunity for people all the way at the end to get a chance to work with their colleagues who have different areas of specialization in various different capacities, and kind of put those parts together. If you want to do a capstone project, we have a capstone project course that you can do. Works similar to EPICS, or you can get involved with EPICS, which runs in conjunction with engineering, and do some projects there. So there still are project experiences available, but they're not mandated for a CIT student.
All right, cool. Great insight there. I appreciate that. And then just kind of getting a little bit more basic in some form or fashion. We've heard a lot of course numbers and course titles descriptions from our advisors. How would you describe kind of the major specific makeup of the courses? Like, how are they designed for students to learn best? And Phil, we'll stick with you.
Yeah, if you take a look at most of our courses, they're going to have a laboratory. CIT, as well as most of the courses in the Polytechnic, are really balanced and founded on the concept of experiential learning. So you're not only going to learn about how things theoretically work, you're going to learn about how they actually work. So there's a lot of see, touch, feel, do that occurs in our laboratories. And that's critical experiences for students. Some of the things that we're told that differentiate our students when they're graduating and going out into the market space are that they are able to hit the ground running, take any project thrown at them and run with it, because that's exactly the way our laboratories are created. Here's what you need to do. Here's the technology you need to use to do it. Go figure it out. And we give you some guidance. We put some guardrails around it, but you're certainly not going to get step 1, step 2, A, B, C, D kind of instructions, because part of learning how to teach yourself a new technology is a critical skill. If you don't learn how to teach yourself technology, you're going to have a great 4 or 5 year career when you're done here, and you're going to be obsolete, right? There's probably several people watching this on a smartphone. Didn't exist prior to 2008. So how many people went to college and got a degree on smartphone programming? Not very many. They had to learn it on their own and pick it up. So that ability to learn those things and assimilate those and build them into your set is really important, and one of the things that we stress in our laboratories. The other big item that happens in those laboratory experiences is you get to learn a lot about problem solving and troubleshooting. And I'm looking at several of my students here who are smiling at the bottom of my screen, even if you can't see them. Because that's really an important aspect of what happens in IT. Everything in IT is a system. Very rarely do you have something that exists in a vacuum. And oftentimes both parts are working fine, but when you put them together, they don't work so fine. So the ability to take complex problems, break them down into smaller pieces, determine where the issue is, make them reproducible so they can be solved. Those are critical skills that we handle in those laboratory courses, and that's a very important part of our program.
All right, and I'm glad you mentioned the students, because I'm going to turn to them. And Taylor, I'm going to start with you. Could you give us kind of an insight in what a recent lab experience and project that you had was in one of your courses?
Sure. And I can actually talk about what Purdue did in response to the COVID-19 pandemic as well. So we can kind of show how we adapted to things. So I am currently in a networking class, and so we get to literally work with routers and switches. We got to make our own cable, and we're working with real industry equipment, all provided by Cisco. And Cisco also has an online lab environment. So once the pandemic hit, we transitioned to an online environment. So that could also be potentially like the future of the class, if necessary. But that's one lab that I'm in right now. It gets a lot of really, and you get to go really in depth with the amount of networking that you learn. So.
That's great. Appreciate this, especially insight into what's kind of currently happening now. And Jason, same question for you. Could you kind of give us an explanation of one of your recent lab experiences?
Okay, so for this semester, I have 2 labs which are, from what I remember, about system analysis and design. So we made some UML diagrams that's really beneficial for my major, especially for my future career, right? And then the second one is about database. So in the database lab, we learn about how to use SQL in general. We also learn how to make ERD, and all of them are also something new that I never know before I joined Purdue. So it's a good experience.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. Do you have a quick question from the chat related to cybersecurity certifications? And does our curriculum include those certifications as a requirement for students, or is that something they have to do separately? And Phil, maybe you can respond to that one.
Certainly. If you take a look at a lot of these certifications, we build the curriculum around concepts that are part of the body of knowledge. So we don't necessarily wrap it around a specific certification. Some programs, especially those at community colleges, might actually even build in taking the certification test as part of a course. We don't do that. We cover things at a slightly different level. However, we do cover a lot of those same concepts, and we have documented some things that will say after you've taken these courses, you're going to be in a very good place to do some review and take this particular certification exam. So the curriculum isn't designed around certs, but certainly you can take that knowledge and apply it to them.
All right. Well, I think that's good to know for those who are looking into doing those for sure. And then going a little bit more kind of specific with coursework, and Phil, we'll stick with you to kind of start with this. What would you say are some of the coding languages or programming languages, software development focus areas that CIT has?
Certainly, all of our majors require the same 2 starting courses. So the first course, 155.01, is really an introduction into coding. We're doing that right now in C#. Not that that's special. And certainly if you've already had another coding course where you have learned those basic coding concepts, variables, conditional operators, looping structures, all these kind of things, bring that to us and we might be able to evaluate that, and you perhaps will get credit for this particular course. But that's a basic coding course. Then everyone will take a course in object-oriented programming, currently taught in Java. And everyone takes that course, and on the backside of that, depending upon which major you're in, you may be required to take 315, which is our course on data structures / procedural coding. So this is offered in C. So rather than being object oriented, we're going back to a little more traditional coding. And then there's also an elective course that some people may choose to take, 325, which is advanced object-oriented coding. So we have those things. The advanced object-oriented coding also taught in Java.
All right. And then just as a follow-up, because I tend to get this question a lot when I'm out talking with prospective students in relation to CIT, computer science, and our electrical computer engineering core programs that we have in the Polytechnic as well. How would you kind of explain the different approaches that each of those kind of programs have, and how students can understand the differences between those?
Yeah, certainly. It's kind of interesting because a lot of people take that AP computer science course in high school, or they take a course that has computer science in it. And the course is really all about coding. That coding experience is applicable across all of those programs you mentioned, Ryne. It's just as applicable to ECE as it is to CS, as it is to CIT. ECE being electrical and computer engineering, if you're not familiar with that. The difference between these is really a question of what you're focusing on. And we start out with ECE because they're kind of where it all began. They work with microprocessors. They build chipsets for network cards, these kind of things. So they make a lot of that hardware. So there's a huge hardware component. They also do coding, but the coding they do is typically close to the hardware. It's lower level. Device drivers, operating systems, these kind of things. So it's all about building some sort of computing system at a low level. Computer science is 100% software all the time, all software all the time. And they focus on writing code to do just about anything you can imagine, but still it's a little closer down to that hardware. They're writing operating systems. If you talk to them about database, someone from CS, they're going to be talking about writing a database engine, something like Oracle or SQL Server or something of that nature. When you talk to someone from computer science about networking, they think about, oh, how do I code an IP stack? How do I write a networking protocol like OSPF or RIP or something like that of those natures. So it's all about writing code to do things. What we do in CIT as an IT program is we take all the cool toys that the people in ECE and CS have created, and we bring them together, and we go out and we find real world problems that need solved, and our systems analysis and design people go out, talk to the folks who really don't know anything about computing, but they know their problem, and they model it, come up with ways we can build solutions to meet this problem. Our infrastructure people build the infrastructure up using real hardware, routers, switches, servers, virtualized servers, all these kind of things to build the infrastructure out, web servers to put all of this together. And then our coders come in and actually write the application layer software that solves that particular problem, whether it's a website to sell widgets or whether it's some other solution that you might have. So we cover those things. So we're much more application oriented and much more involved in the solving of real world problems rather than theoretical computing things.
I think it's a great description. Definitely helps understand the differences and how the approaches are taken as well. Thank you. Appreciate that a lot.
Absolutely. And the other aspect of that I left out, I want to make sure I don't leave that out, is everywhere in CIT, when you look at any of our courses, any of our anything, as you learn something, you're going to learn several different aspects about it. You're going to learn what it is, theoretically, how does it work? Then you're going to learn, how do I implement it? How do I maintain it? And how do I secure it? Because you have to do all of those things. If you deploy technology that you don't know how to maintain and you don't know how to secure, you're going to end up in a very bad place in a very big hurry.
And nobody wants to end up there, that's for sure.
Nobody wants to end up there.
Excellent. All right. Thank you very much. Angie, I'm going to turn back to you. You had a question from the chat asking about undistributed credit for AP courses. How does that work in terms of earning that credit, or what does that look like with students?
Undistributed credit?
Yes.
Okay. So CIT requires certain scores in order for a course to map to meet degree requirements. There are some courses that we don't require that may come in as undistributed, and we've been able to apply those to the free elective on our CNIT plan of study. So it says C advisor on that AP sheet. Another place we can update the AP credits on the composition selective. If a student brings in credit for an English composition class that is accepted from Purdue, we will allow the student to use that credit on their plan of study. However, we do have what's called the Cornerstone certificate built into our plan of study. So if a student takes that AP credit for the English 106, they would then need to take another course to fulfill that Cornerstone certificate should they choose to. And Cornerstone certificate is a liberal arts certificate that just adds some more credentials to your record, which reinforces that you have those communication skills, both verbally and written, in all of the courses that are required in CIT, but the Cornerstone certificate is not required for the CIT plan of study. So on that AP sheet, we do have some undistributed credits that we can accept for free elective, and then there's a few other courses that we can accept with some exceptions in the conversation with that student explaining about the Cornerstone certificate.
All right, great. Thank you. Appreciate that. And then follow up still with you, different topic. Is there a professional work experience or internship experience requirement for the CIT department? And how would you say most students try to accomplish that? Then I'm going to follow up with all of our students to see what kind of experiences they've had as well.
Good. That's the best experience to hear about. We do have a co-curricular requirement is 0 credits but every student needs to complete an IT professional experience. We have many ways a student can complete that. Most students complete it by completing an internship, a paid internship. Students are able to get those internships from job openings through the department, through career fairs, through CIT announcements. How they do that is they complete 240 hours of work in an IT position. We are very lucky in our major and being at our university that we have very large IT centers that run all of our computers, and a lot of our students can get campus jobs while they're a student to complete that IT professional experience. If a student doesn't do an internship either on campus or through industry, they can complete that through coursework. We have some experiential courses that meet with outside industry, but it's interfaced through the faculty member. So the student isn't actually directly working for the industry, they're working through the faculty member to complete that. So we have several options for a student to complete that.
Great. Then I'm going to turn to our students, and Jason, we'll start with you. Have you had any internships recently that you can kind of explain what it was, where it was, and how you transitioned your skills and what you learned in the Polytechnic to that experience as well?
Oh yeah, so because of COVID-19, right? So I also had an internship in Indonesia, and it's for the startup company, and my job was to make sure that I can make like some of the plan for the company future business and future on. But recently it got canceled. But I feel that like there are some courses that makes me ready to join the company, like some of the company. Because I remember during the interview, right, some of the interviewer just asked me about some of the terms that I know from this semester class, which is CIT 280. And I feel aside from that one class, you can also learn a lot from CIT program class that will make sure that, yeah, you will get your internship perfectly. So that's how you get.
All right, awesome. And then Taylor, could you share with us any of your experiences so far?
Yeah, sure. So, bouncing off of what Jason said, I also got to use the skills I learned in 280, which is systems analysis and design. You learn all about the agile framework and what sprint planning and sprint teams are like. So, I used that at my internship last summer at American Express. Like, I walked in day one and I already knew what all of the engineers were talking about. So my role was a software engineering intern, and so that was cool. And then this summer I'll be working for Apple in the information security department. Not exactly sure what I'm doing, but I'm definitely sure that I'll be applying some of the cybersecurity concepts that I've learned so far.
All right, that's awesome. Very cool. Then Andrea, any internship experiences for you? Oh, I think you still might be muted potentially.
Oh yeah, sorry. So I don't have like any internship experience yet since I'm a freshman. But I'm definitely like looking forward to it, and I have gone to like some career fairs at Purdue because it helps you to practice and say your elevator pitch, and yeah, so you can be prepared. And I'm very sure that I'll be prepared for an internship in the future.
All right, awesome. Yeah, hopefully get you one soon. Hopefully with this whole situation, everybody's going to be able to get those experiences coming up. And then Matt, same question for you.
Yeah, so mine was a little bit different since my internship was in financial management. But I did think a lot of the a lot of the classes, some of the stuff did transfer over. Is like we would have different meetings, would be like looking at different diagrams, and they'd be having a lot of the same terms that we would learn in CIT 280 or 180. Because I think those are a lot of key business terms. And especially like coming to those meetings, like I think it did help me have a good edge from the other interns that were coming in and didn't really know about the certain things. I would say majority of my time though was spent in like a group project, so we did have to use some of the we didn't like use agile, but some of the same methodologies and ideas in the same process to have everything delivered on time before the end of the year. And I think for the coming year, to like a lot of the stuff they did teach me last summer of when we had specific interviews. So they told me how the different like what I'd have to be using for next semester and some of the stuff we talked about during my class CIT 392 for big data and stuff like that.
And Angie mentioned, Matt, I'm mistake with you, mentioned career fairs, and Andrea mentioned that as well. Does this department have some career fairs that our students can get connected to industry partners with as well?
Yeah, so our CIT career fair that we have every September, that was how I got this internship. It was really funny. I was in the line for Deloitte. I just looked to my side, and this guy's like hella nervous, and he's like looking at like his phone and trying to tell me like, oh, here's what the internship's like. And then it just turns out that was going to be like one of the best opportunities for me. And this again at the CIT career fair, which was really helpful. Even another CIT student had that internship. We have other opportunities throughout the semester to get in contact with companies and with industry partners, with um, the IAC, the Industrial Advisory Council. They usually have a meeting once a year, and we had them come over for like a social event to get to know our students. Then we have a bunch of companies that do have their own info sessions. So, like for example, Deloitte and Cisco that have their own like info sessions, bring cookies and T-shirts for the students to come over there, like learn about the company, give them their resume, potentially, have like an interview out of that. And other companies will come down to like for specific, looking to hire specific people of for like graduating seniors or maybe for like sophomores and things like that. And there's also like other career fairs in like the spring and throughout the entire time in the summer where people are looking. So we try to give as much help as possible as a CIT council with professional events to prepare students for these events.
Yeah, that's great. I was just going to mention, yeah, you mentioned the CIT its own career fair. So that's great that they have that popularity is growing for sure for that department. The Polytechnic also has its own career fair every February. So college-wide, all of our different departments are represented there. There's career fairs, and Matt mentioned information sessions for specific companies happening all over campus. So if you see something or a company that you are interested in, definitely check it out. Go listen to what they have to say, what kind of opportunities are out there, because you never know what kind of experiences they might offer, and if you don't go, then you won't know. So yeah, definitely recommend checking those out. And beyond that, there's the Center for Career Opportunities. That's Purdue's career services office essentially, so helping you with writing your resume, doing some mock interviews, looking through their list of internship experiences that are offered as well. Definitely take a look at those resources for sure. All right, I'm gonna flip back to kind of more to Phil, kind of more in the faculty role. And what kind of support would you say faculty members provide for our students within our coursework here?
Yeah, if you take a look at what happens in the classroom, the faculty's job is to help students and support students and make sure that they learn. That said, it's a cooperative process, right? We're not mind readers, but we have a lot of different aspects that we can bring to the table there to help people if they are stuck on something. First of all, we have office hours, so you can catch us in office hours, although probably the best time, and I think this is true of anyone at any university, to catch your faculty member and ask a simple question is right after class, especially if it's in a different building. Walk back to their building with them and you get a captive audience, opportunity to ask questions and get those things answered. But we have office hours. If you have a lab course, there might be a teaching assistant who helps with that. They're going to have office hours, so you have the opportunity to get some support there. And then within our college, we offer the best student mentoring program, which is building excellence for students in technology. So that's available for us. And then we have maintain a tutor list in CIT for students who are willing to help with different classes. So we have that available that you can look at. And then there's the Academic Success Center available on campus, even across the larger aspect. If you're having issues that may be not tied to a single class, study skills, these kind of things, they can help with those pieces.
Yeah, that's great. Glad you brought the BEST and Academic Success Center through our resource page, our admitted student information landing page. Links to all those different resources are on there. So like Phil mentioned, yeah, definitely talk with your faculty members, but check out those other resources. They have different sessions. Supplemental instruction is another thing offered by our student success, academic success department. So specific courses, they have students who've done really well in those courses, kind of walking you through the concepts again. I kind of reach back to the students, and Taylor, I don't know if you maybe have some feedback about how the faculty have been involved in the classes and in your coursework, how they support you in your learning.
Yeah, so I've actually gotten to make some or have some really good relationships with some of the faculty in the CIT department, especially one thing that I really want to note is that we do have a lot of female professors. So right now, I know like the student body is about like 20% female and 80% male, but the professors, there's definitely representation within the professors. So because I've gotten to go to a Women in Cybersecurity conference with 2 professors that I've had, and that was really cool. They actually like drove us there in a Polytechnic like van to Pittsburgh, and that was a really good. It was a really great experience because you know, you could ask them questions so they could like explain cybersecurity topics to you if you don't really get what's going on. And they were just there to like support us and like get us exposed to what it's like out in the industry at a really unique conference. So that was with Professor Locks and Professor Nambeki. So that's probably the most like involved experience I've had is with those 2 professors. Professor Locks is very involved with conferences and stuff.
All right, that's great. And then Andrea, same question for you. Since you're a freshman, you know, you've just recently gone through the whole admissions process. How has your first year been within the Polytechnic, kind of the reach out that you have with faculty members here?
Yeah, so faculty members, my professors, they are really involved into the CIT community. One of Professor Katie, I remember that in her classes, she would tell us to be involved with like the clubs from CIT. So she also talked about like the career fairs that even though that she taught freshmen and she knew we were all mostly freshmen, she would tell us that we should all like gain experience and go to the career fairs. And so I think I like decided on going to the career fair because she told us that it was good for our experience. And then yes, Professor Lux, I think she's very like open with her students and she really cares about her students. So yeah, I think I feel like I know her more closely, yeah, as a teacher, as a professor.
No, that's great to hear. Yeah, it's. I think sometimes students come into college thinking the faculty are, you know, scary and they're not sure how to interact with them, and they're just people too. They want to get to know you. They want to make sure you're successful. Maybe I'm putting words in Phil's mouth, but I think that's probably fair to say that they're here for your success to make sure you're learning everything that you want to. And I just want to point out, Taylor mentioned the faculty, the female faculty representation, and our 80% male, 20% female population of students. But we do in a couple of weeks have a broadcast coming up about women in technology and the support resources and opportunities for engagement that you have. So check that out. Keep an eye on your email or go to the polytechnic.purdue.edu/live and see when that's coming up. I believe it's on May 12th, so just a couple of weeks from now. So we'll have some student representatives and talking about the Women in Technology Learning Community, the organization, the mentoring program that we have. So definitely check that out. Good resource to learn about what's going on. And you mentioned, Andrea, the getting involved in different organizations. I'm going to turn to all of our students now and start with you. What kind of organizations and clubs are you involved in here at Purdue?
Yeah, so well, I'm involved in the CIT Student Council, and I think it's great, like a great experience for networking, especially with professors when you're trying to do like events, because yeah, you need professors to spread the word and help you like find students to come to the events and all of that. Then I'm also part of the IEEE club. I especially go to the Software Saturdays where we are learning how to program in HTML right now. And then I'm also part of the WIT Club, which is Women in Technology. Yeah, and I think the club is like very like friendly for you. So I would totally recommend it. Like if you're a girl coming to CIT, or yeah, coming to CIT, because it's you gain like there's a lot of opportunities like volunteering, and it's also very fun, and you engage with other people, and it's fun. Yeah.
All right, great, thank you. And then Jason, what kind of clubs and organizations are you involved in?
Oh, so I think I joined some of the organization at Purdue. The first and foremost is for sure CIT Student Council, because I feel that I want to give back to the department and then to help the student body to get closer with each other and also to its department, because it's really fun if you achieve all of those missions. So I'm really glad that I'm part of CIT Student Council with a lot of great people. And the second is Boiler Gold Trust, or you can say BGR, and I'm a team leader for 2 years in a row. So my main job is to make sure that we can introduce how beautiful Purdue is to all of the incoming freshmen. So if you are watching now, looking into my face, you will see me in BGR. So be careful with that. And I'm also joining Alpha Kappa Psi, which is a business fraternity that is open to all majors. And my role there is vice president of public relations. And I really learned a lot from Alpha Kappa Psi in terms of being a professional, because that's when I know how to talk to recruiters, how do I do my interview and elevator pitch and so on, including in a resume. And one last thing is I'm also a part of Purdue Student Software Trainers. So that's where we teach people about all of those Adobe products, including InDesign, Photoshop, Illustrator, and many more. So it's a fun experience, like all of those experience that I have from those organizations. Thanks, Purdue.
That's great. Yeah. I just want to throw out there right now, we have, I think, close to 1,000 clubs and organizations here at the university. So you have a lot of ways to get involved, whether it's within your academic department or something more fun and social. I believe there's a puppy club and the Disney Appreciation Club. So more fun things you can do. And then turn back to Taylor. What kind of organizations are you involved in here?
So firstly, I'm involved on the CIT Council. I'm the cybersecurity representative, been on that for almost a year now. I'm also in the Women in Technology organization, which Andrea mentioned. I've been involved in that since freshman year, first semester, and I was on the executive board for 2 years. Last year, I was the vice president. And finally, or actually second to last, I'm in Polytechnic ambassadors. So working on retention and recruitment and diversity. And then finally, I just became a tutor for programming classes in the CIT department. That's not really a club, but it's like a on-campus affiliation. So I thought I should like throw it in there. So yeah.
No, that's great. Yeah, I was hoping you're going to remember that you're still an ambassador with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Matt, your organizations you're involved in?
Yeah, so this is a question that when I usually get, I'm like I have to sigh for a bit because I know I have like a lot to say about this. I would say if there's one thing at Purdue that I've become an expert on, it is student organizations. So my first semester when I coming to Purdue, I immediately knew I wanted to join a social fraternity. So I did that and got really involved with that. My second semester, I decided to join Alpha Kappa Psi, the business fraternity Jason mentioned, and that's how I met Jason. If I didn't meet Jason that way, I'm not sure if I would have asked him to be on board and everything. And then I became a Polytechnic ambassador for a year, and I was on the CIT Student Council for 2 years. I was originally the treasurer, and then I became the president. And I'm also just on the SOGA board, which is like gives like grants to like other organizations and such, and just like I don't know various things I can't even name. But I think getting involved at Purdue is probably one of the most important things because obviously like, Purdue is a big university that has a lot of opportunities to to be involved, but it also shows you how to develop your social skills. Working with teams, taking on larger projects, getting grants, trying to do big events, trying to, network and things like that. But it also teaches you how to fail. I didn't get Polytechnic Ambassadors the first time I applied to it. I didn't win my president of my social fraternity the first time I applied to it. And you just you get to see that other people fail and other people come back, and that's why I think it's like one of the best experiences. You can have all the technical knowledge in the world, but it's kind of it will never get overwhelmed by the social knowledges you have. And I think in some cases, in certain jobs, your social knowledge will definitely trump your technical knowledge. So you just have to know how to play the cards right, know what you get involved in, and they'll lead to some of your closest friends. Adit and I became very close. We've been close since STAR, but we've been very close this year with some of these organizations, and again with a lot of other people that I've met through board. I would never have met Andrea if not through the CIT Council and things like that. So please, as soon as you get to Purdue, get on campus, create a bucket list, find the clubs you want to do, and maybe you don't get all of them, but at least you get 60% of them, and I think that's still a win in my book. So good luck with that.
Thanks, Matt. And I want to thank you also for reminding me that Adit was here, because on my bottom of my screen, I can only see like 4 or 5 faces, and I totally have not been bringing Adit into the conversation. So I apologize for that. You want to share a little bit of your organizations as well with us here in the Polytechnic?
Hey, Ryan. Thanks for that. Yeah, so in terms of organizations, I've been involved with a service organization called RoadRack for the past couple of years. I was the president of that for this previous year. And obviously, I was on CIT Student Council. I watched Matt be the treasurer for last year, and I was like, I really want to get involved. I want to make this department as big and awesome as it can be, because I've met the professors, I've hung out with them in their office, and I just really want everyone else in the department to see how awesome they are, and then meet them and everything else about this department. And then I'm also an ambassador with you, so going out talking to potential students or incoming students such as you guys, and really just telling you guys how awesome this college is and how much I love it. And it's been an amazing experience for me in general. And since I am here real quick, I hope you forgive me for talking about my internship experience, which was I worked at Express in Columbus last summer. And so because of the understanding that we got with vSphere vCenter in CNIT 242, I was able to hit the ground running on a project that they were starting over the summer. Sorry, my light flickered off for a second. Apparently, we've lived in this house for 10 years, and my parents don't know where the light switches are. But disregarding that, yeah, so there was the Windows infrastructure team, and so got on vSphere and was able to understand how to work with those virtual machines, and it was a seamless process. They had very little to teach me. They just gave me the passwords and were like, yeah, you know what, go right ahead. And it was a really great experience. Yeah, just rambled through everything I could real quick, but yeah.
No, that's great. I appreciate that. And again, I'm so sorry. Again, the scrolling is just messing me up, but I'm glad we have so many great students here with us that, that's a problem that I have to deal with, right? So that's great. Appreciate it. Real quick, I want to turn to Phil, just a quick question about undergraduate research opportunities that our students might have in this department. What might they get into with that?
Sure. We do have a lot of different undergraduate research opportunities here at Purdue. There are specific courses that you could get involved with, and you may also find that there are faculty who have funded research and they're looking for additional help on those. So, develop that relationship with your faculty members so that they think of you when it's time to do those things, as well as having the opportunity to talk to your advisors, express an interest, so they have a list of people when someone goes, hey, we got this opportunity that might be coming up out of our department, or sometimes we even get research opportunities from other departments. Say that there's something going on in the School of Nursing, right? And they have a project that they're doing, and as part of that project, they might need to do some sort of website or web development piece for that. They understand the nursing, they understand the public health aspects. They might not know anything about building a website. So there's opportunities for you to get involved in those things and work with those aspects as well. So that's really an important option there too. while I have the floor, I want to kind of make one mention that my colleague Dawn Laux would want me to say about those student organizations. As Ryne mentioned, we have over 1,000 student organizations at Purdue, everywhere from hang gliding to off-roading to petting puppies to all of these different things. And when you land here, all of our students were talking about all the great things they're doing with technology. That's awesome. As a faculty member, I love that our students live this stuff. That's one of the ways you're really successful. But it's really important for your mental health and for your success to go out there and find something that you love to do that has nothing to do with computers, preferably that doesn't even have an on-off switch. Go out and find something that recharges your batteries and get involved with that, because those are the things when everything is driving you crazy. Week 15 of the semester, where we are now, right? It's dead week. Everybody's about at their wits' end. To have that thing that you can go do that gives you some peace and brings you the opportunity to feel a little bit better about things, because that's really important as well.
Yeah, definitely agree. I always recommend, an organization that's related to your academic major, and then something that's just more for fun. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Kind of turn to a little more about our outcomes. We talk full-time jobs, and Lauren, I know you've been with us just for a little while here, but I know you probably work with some seniors that are graduating. Maybe they have their next step coming up. Could you share with us a little bit about where you see students, what kind of career pathways they're going into?
Yeah, definitely. So I apologize if I missed part of what you said, Ryan, but you did cut out a bit there. So I hope I can catch it all. But yeah, we have students going into all different fields here. Kind of like I believe it was Phil said earlier, some individuals are doing dual degrees and maybe they're scratching an itch in an area that's not just cybersecurity or network engineering technology or something of that nature. But we have a lot of students who are in those three-letter industries, CIA, FBI, things like that, using those cybersecurity degrees, as well as tapping into apps, or maybe going out and becoming one of us and kind of seeing that higher ed might be somewhere you want to play. Like Angie was saying, we have a lot of opportunities on campus that students are getting connected to. So we see individuals doing a lot of database stuff here on campus, maybe going into research afterwards. We do have a good number of students that go on to grad school. So really, if you can imagine it, we can try to help get you there.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my question was just, kind of outcomes, career pathways, and I think you touched on some of those areas that I get a lot of questions, like the three-letter agencies, NSA, FBI, CIA, those types of things. And certainly, like Phil mentioned before, IT is involved with basically any field you can think of. So yeah, I think those outcomes kind of spread our students all over the place. Now, speaking of students, I want to turn back to them, kind of see what kind of career goals they have for themselves once they're done with their degrees here. And Adit, we'll start with you this time.
Awesome. Yeah, so I think right now I'm aiming to be like a systems administrator or systems administrator, and then try in 5 years try to be senior systems administrator, and then on that continue to go on a managing track so that I can take the tools given to me from the project management class that Professor Rawles talked about 480 and apply those. So really build out Gantt charts and the triple constraint and just look at how all that applies to a real life project, and using Microsoft Project and stuff like that. So yeah, that's my general career goals as of right now, and then we'll see how it changes as technology continues to change in the real world.
Yeah, I think that's one thing our students definitely learn how to do is change with that evolving technology and adapt and learn new skills as well. Taylor, what kind of career goals do you have for after your program?
Career goals. Well, one thing that I really like about the CIT program is how we learn the technological side, but we also learn like the interpersonal side, and a lot of us come out with really strong soft skills. So I would definitely like to do something where I'm at least like interacting with people, so I can get to utilize those soft skills and maybe become like a manager or be in charge of people one day. But I want to get like a strong technical background first, so I can, become an expert at like communicating the technical ins and outs of like cybersecurity or whatever we're working on. And I guess the particular like fields that I'm really interested in mostly are application security or anything to do with software engineering and cybersecurity programming. That's mostly the things that I'm really interested in doing. So if I could get into that and then eventually do well at it, that would definitely be a career goal like met. So yeah.
All right, I think that's great. And then Jason, your plan or your goals after the program's done?
Oh, so because I'm intern student, right? So I always have a goal of having some experience to work for some of the top technological company in the US. Hopefully I can work in Silicon Valley and I become their system architect or system designer with all of my knowledge from CNIT, especially in system analysis and design as my major. And after 2 or 3 years, I think I will go back to Indonesia to start my own company so I can give back to the country and I can also be successful thanks to Purdue University.
All right, awesome. Thank you. And Andrea, I know you're finished up your freshman year, but do you have any ideas of where you might want to end up once you're done with your degree?
Well, I'm interested in software development, so I think like I see myself as a software developer in the future because I like my coding courses. I really enjoy coding in general. So I have a minor in business too because I'm also interested in business. So in learning how, my communication skills and learning marketing as well. Yes.
All right, great. Yeah, I think that's a good combination. And then Matt, your goals that you have once you're done.
Yeah, I would like to take a full-time offer at a government agency, ideally either Department of Defense or some of the other three-letter agencies, for IT or for finance, or data analytics post graduation. One thing that I think what struck out to me last year is when I took a CIT 320, which is about public policy and how IT impacts that. And I realized that a lot of our politicians, a lot of our people in our government don't really know IT. So and I've always been interested in law school. I've always been interested in political science. So I think long term, my plan is to go into either law school or public policy and work for like the state or federal government in like the legislative side in either IT law or working with like finance and like being like a state treasurer or something like that.
Great, that'd be awesome. And then I'm going to turn back to Angie. She's been working here in the Polytechnic for a while and seen lots of students graduate. What are some of the companies that you see a lot of our students are go into when they're done as well?
Awesome. We have lots of industry partners that continue to come back to our career fairs in all kinds of different industries. We see a lot of students go to work in banking, in insurance, the three-letter agencies. So we see State Farm, Progressive. I'm going to miss somebody because I don't have my list right in front of me. So the insurance, the tech companies, we see a lot of those companies continue to come back. Microsoft, Amazon, John Deere has been a great partner with us to help students get the ag industry more technical related. And we have students that grew up in the farming community and they come and they take a farming minor and then they can go to work for some of those ag industries. So we have corporate partners in all types of industries, like Phil has mentioned, Lauren has mentioned. Anything that you're interested in that you want to apply IT to, we can help you get a minor that can hone those skills in and point you to the career fair and the company that's looking for someone just like you that can implement those skills you've learned here at Purdue.
All right, great. And Phil, I want to just kind of see kind of your perspective from the faculty side. What kind of connections that you see our faculty members having with industry partners as well?
Yeah, we have a lot of opportunities to interact with industry partners to kind of piggyback on what Angie was talking about. We see all those things. One area that I think we want to make sure we highlight is consulting. We have a lot of people who go into the consulting space. Because one of the things that you get out of your CIT experience, and Taylor alluded to this earlier, is not only do you have a really solid background on the technical side, but you also learn a lot of communication, both written and oral. And you have good soft skills, you have excellent abilities to communicate to people. And that fits really well into those consulting roles, even if it's internal into a company. Because at the end of the day, the IT business is a service business, right? No one goes out and spends $5 million to buy the newest, coolest IT tool because they want to, right? They do it because they have a problem to solve. And so we provide services to other areas of the operation or to other companies. So even if in an IT group within a huge company like General Motors, you're really a consultant because their chief business is the development of cars. Now, as Angie mentioned about talking of insurance and banking, those are just IT companies, right? At the end of the day, all they do is move electrons around, inconvenience them a little bit to accomplish some sort of goal, right? So they're really IT companies hiding as other things. So we have those things happening around and making aspects go. So all of those fit together as industries in which we commonly work. And could you repeat the initial question?
Like just kind of industry connections that you see
yeah.
our faculty members having as well.
Yeah, we work with a lot of different companies. Several of them have come to our job fairs for years and years and years. So we have relationships with them. We have relationships with our alumni who are out in a lot of different companies, whether they're serving on our industrial advisory council or if they're just calling us up every once in a while. I got a phone call from a colleague not that long ago who's saying, man, we're having this interesting issue with something to do with the COVID-19 aspect. We're listed as critical infrastructure. And this says this, and I don't quite understand what that means. Can you help me out with it, right? So this is an undergraduate student from about 15 years ago. And so we had a conversation, talked through that and worked through that. And he goes, okay, I feel a lot better about that now, right? So we have those relationships that get built. They stay around for a while. And a lot of times people come back and they go, we want to find people like this, or I want to find someone like me. We had a student a while back, I'll refrain from the name, but got a job at Progressive. Progressive had never recruited at Purdue before. They're off in Cleveland. They had hit several other Ohio schools, a lot of the MAC schools, but had never been to Purdue. And they hired this guy. And they came back and they said, we didn't know you existed, but we want another 100 like him. And it's like, well, I only have about 100 seniors, so you're not going to get 100 like him, but you might be able to get 4 or 5. So we build those relationships organically. Once again, all those different pieces, after you've been around for a while, you just start to know a lot of folks, and they start calling and they start looking at different aspects, or they call and say, hey, we have this need. Do you have any people like that? Or is this something you're doing? Or do you know of anywhere else who might be providing those people? So it happens really organically.
All right, yeah, that's good. So yeah, the alumni connections, the faculty connections for sure are great. All right, I think we're going to ask one more question of everyone just to kind of see what your advice would be for incoming freshmen coming into this department. What would your advice be to help them be successful? And Phil, we'll stick with you to start out with what you have to say.
I think the best thing to be successful is to come in and kind of get your feet set underneath you at the beginning. And the first question I always ask prospective students is, do you love computers, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're going to be successful, you need to love computers. So when the computer doesn't work, and we all know that computers don't work, the only thing I can think of that's ever been created that's more frustrating than a computer is a teenager for all of our parents out there. But they're not going to work all the time. And when it doesn't work, if your reaction is, I am not going to let this piece of silicon beat me, I will find this, I will figure it out, and I will beat it, you're going to have a great career. You're going to be really successful. If your initial reaction is, I'm going to throw this thing out the window, then I would humbly submit that you should rethink your choice of major. Okay, not that we're trying to get rid of students. We want you to come, but you need to come and you need to love that. You need to be ready to do that. You need to be willing to work hard. You need to be willing to learn on your own. You need to be willing to work with other people. IT is a people business. It's about technology, but it's really about people. It's working with other people on your team, with people who have problems, helping them solve those problems. So you want to be able to have those things. The idea that you can sit in the corner, eat pizza, and drink Mountain Dew might work for other computing related majors, but it doesn't work in IT, right? You do have to have that ability to interact with people. So if you come and you're prepared to do those things, get involved. For anyone going to college for any reason, number one thing, Ryne hit it earlier, the idea of your faculty are not some sort of crazy people who live in weird places and they only come out during the day and then they disappear. They have lives, right? They're people too. Interact with them, relate to people as people. That's an important thing to do, regardless of what you're doing, regardless of what you're studying. And be involved, be interested, be interesting. Go out, find things to do, work with those, come and be ready. Don't be afraid to ask questions. The number one mistakes students make is they wait until they're so hopelessly lost to ask for help that they're now trying to get caught up from 3 weeks. If you don't understand, ask. There's no shame in not knowing the answer right off the bat. If you knew everything, you wouldn't be in class, right? You're here to learn. So get involved, talk to your faculty, talk to your colleagues who you're in class with, and sort those things out. And at the end of the day, everyone at this or any other university, we're here to help you be successful. That's why there's a door. That's why people come in. That's why people come back, right? So come and do those things, and I think you will be successful at Purdue University, and especially in CIT.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. Angie, your advice for students coming in?
Sure. I'll just piggyback off some of those things. Accept the challenge, accept change. If you don't like change, this isn't really the major for you. It's continually changing. That's why we all like it. That's why I think Professor Rawls still teaches in this area. That's why I still advise in this area, because it's exciting. It's ever changing to meet industry needs, to meet people needs. And just accept the fact that you will be a lifelong learner and jump right in. So we're looking forward to having you here in the fall.
All right, awesome. Thank you. And Lauren, your advice?
Gosh, I got to piggyback again. So yes, just like Angie and Phil were saying, please come talk to us. We're here to help you. If you don't tell us what's going on, we don't know how to point you to resources. When we send those emails being like, come talk to me, we're not kidding. That's what we're here to do. We're here to help you. We're here to talk through those plans. If you have ideas, come talk to us sooner than later about what that looks like. And I'll fully admit there might be times that me, Angie, the other advisors, maybe don't know how to best get you there. But then we'll start to work with Phil or Professor Lux or someone else to get you pointed in the right direction. Another big thing that I would encourage you to do is work on maybe reframing how you look at not succeeding in classes. You know, like Phil said, we're here to learn. We're here to grow and to engage in a different, just something different than you've normally been doing. So help us help you learn those new things and grow with it. It's okay to fail. We all do. We've all failed at something before, but yet you grow from that. And so we will continue to make sure that you are growing. So please do come see us, come connect with us. We want to get to know you guys outside of that once a semester appointment. All right, we want to be that team player for you.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and definitely recommend, like everybody's been talking about, go chat with your people that help support you in whatever way that is. All right, now from our students' perspective, what kind of advice would you give? And Adit, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think of something that like Matt or Taylor or Jason or Andrea won't say. But it's really hard because I think we all kind of understand that when you get on campus, you need to try and get involved. Go out of your room, make some friends. I know a lot of floors have like open door policies, so you can go out and like talk to different people. And it's really interesting to hear the different perspectives of the people that are around you, because you might be from Indiana, but maybe your roommate isn't. And then on top of that, like Professor Rawls and Lauren and Angie said, go and talk to your professors. Like, I know it's gonna be weird that first year where you go from high school and you like, if you see your teacher in a supermarket, you run away from them because you're like, this is not right. And then, but if I saw Professor Rawls or Professor Dedman or anyone else in the supermarket, I'd be like, hey, I don't mind. I like talking to you because you're a fun and interesting person, and I have gotten to know you. Like, there's been a moment where I had 30 minutes to kill before I think I went to an ambassador meeting. And I just went to Professor Dedman's office, and he was like, he wasn't really doing anything busy, so I wasn't like interrupting really. And he had a meeting in 30 minutes too, and we just talked about whatever, about like his little property that he has, and or his classes, because he like started harping on the younger classmen. And then talks to me who's like been through that class already. And it's really interesting. Go talk to your professors, go talk to everyone else, because that's why you're here at the school of 40,000 people, because you want to go out and learn, have these new experiences. And I think that's the best thing that you can do.
All right, that's great. Thank you. And Andrea, your advice for students coming in?
Well, I think it will be good to start off the semester, your first semester, like with a good attitude, and like enjoy your classes, and also like be focused in your classes. So then you would have like a good start off in the semester, and of course like joining clubs that you like, and not just like computing clubs. They're important too, but also like non-computing clubs that you would enjoy as well. And yeah, and also like ask professors questions in their office hours. And you wouldn't imagine like how like nice professors are and how they appreciate like you asking them questions in their office hours, and even in class too. Yeah, even though you might look like scary at first, but what isn't, like there's a lot of people in classes, but still like it will be good to like ask questions and at any time.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's a common thing we've heard is ask those questions, get that thought out there that you're maybe not understanding something. Yeah, get that question out there for sure. 100%. All right. Jason, what would your advice be?
Oh, I think I have like some three advice. First and foremost, just do your best, because I feel that when you're gonna be freshman, it's gonna be pretty hard to have all of those transition from a normal high schoolers to be a college student. So if you don't do well for some of your class or anything, don't worry about that. You still have like many years to come. You will fix your GPA and so on. And remember that GPA doesn't define you, because you're special in your own way. There are many other things that define you as a human, right? So just stop. And then the second thing is, I hope you can involve with a lot of people at Purdue. You can join like from PGR, the orientation program, to meet new people easily, or you can meet all the people from your floors, or if you want to join CIT learning community, which is also really fun, because that's when I meet all of my CIT friends from there. We work together for our project and so on. So we make like a long-lasting friendship in our floor. And one last thing is, I hope you can find your own passion, because CIT have a lot of great opportunities, right, with all of those specific majors. And I hope you can look for the one that you feel the most. Like if you feel you want to work for cybersecurity thing, or if you want to join my major in system analysis and design, just go for it. And you have many years, like not many years, I mean like some time just to think about your real passion. So because if you have your passion, you can do everything perfectly, like 101% for sure. So that's all for me.
All right, thanks, Jason. And actually, I'm glad you brought up the CIT learning community. We did have a question from the chat just come in. If you can still apply, and yes, definitely still apply if you're interested in getting considered for that learning community. The deadline is June 5th. So yeah, make sure you put the application in. Even though there was an earlier deadline, don't worry about that. Still apply, because there's still a chance that you could be admitted to that as well. All right, and then we'll turn to Matt to see what his advice would be.
Yeah, I think a lot of times with with advice and coming to this, like there's a lot going on, and the easiest advice that people would always say is like, be yourself, be prepared, follow your passions. I think my approach, my personal advice is you have to know your goals. You have to write down your goals, like create like a document and like identify like what you want to get out of your college experience. What is your career plans? What do you immediately want to have, 1 year like graduating from college, and then 5 years, and then like 20 years from now? How does everything impact how is all those plans shape into what you're doing right now? Because a lot of those opportunities, a lot of the your goals are going to be developed in a lot of the times before you can even apply. So a lot of people, a lot of internships you can only apply for as juniors, but there's still a lot of things you can do in the meantime to help improve your resume, improve your experience to get to that point. And it all really just comes down to those tough conversations you have to have with yourself, those tough conversations you might have to have with your parents on what they might be comfortable with, or how your relationship is with them and their financing your college. But you're gonna have a tough, like every college experience like is going to be a little bit different in terms of the people there. And I think Purdue is a really great environment, because I think a lot of people here are just so nice and so willing to go the extra mile. At least our professors, like I got very close to Dr. Locks this year because she's our advisor for student council. I got very close freshman year with Professor Hands through class, and she would just help us in office hours and things. And even with Professor Ravi, who I saw at Payless the other day, as Adit mentioned, like, and we just had a casual conversation. I would say, like, try to treat your professors um, kind of like your high school teachers. Like, don't be intimidated by them. Yeah, they've had a lot more school than you. Yeah, they have a lot more knowledge and things like that. But they, again, they are people. They will have those fun like relationships with you if you make it that way. You could have that, that relationship where you can just pop in their door, say a couple things, where they know a little about your life and you know a little about their life and their kids, or whatever, and have those conversations, those tough conversations with them on with your performance in class, with what they see that you're interested in, and how they can help you move forward, because I'm pretty sure, have very good relationships with a lot of the alums, and they'll probably know like who to help you, who they can connect you with, to help you reach your future goals. And having that relationship will also help in uh, recommendation letters, which you're gonna have to have at least one at some point for either some opportunity or something. But and also remember that a lot of the students coming in here, everyone's brilliant. Everyone has their own different levels of their intelligence, but Purdue has been very competitive, especially these last couple of years. What I've personally seen is the people coming in every year is like they're all been like top tier in the college and everything like that, or top tier in high school, and like you're all gonna have different performances. You're all gonna be tested in different ways than you have before. You're not gonna probably be at the top of your class, or even if you are, it might take a lot more work to get there than as you did in high school. And don't feel ashamed to see other people doing better than you. Like don't don't even judge them if they're like not doing as good as you, because like even a year from now things can be completely different. People that have a 2.5 GPA the freshman year, their junior year, now they're like they've retake some classes, they're 3.8, they have research opportunities, they have offers from Amazon or Apple or something. So things can change like this, but like you just got to be patient, trust the process. Like it's not going to be easy, but plan for as much as you can and expect the worst. Expect that plan to not work, and just keep formulating new plans and try to keep your vision in mind and really work for that. Use as a motivating factor in those long nights you might be at lab or doing different homework assignments.
Yeah, I think that's great. Come up with that plan and be ready to adjust to it if you need to as well.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, and then Taylor, your piece of advice as well.
Okay, my advice, I'm just gonna try to keep it like short and sweet. I would say like the best things are just to get involved, just get to know people, because people are your resources, and it's really comforting to have to like know other people that are, whether they're in your classes or they're just they're a year older than you in the same major, and they can give you advice. Just having familiar faces on campus is really great. And also, if you're in like a freshman class and you're confused and shy, chances are the person right next to you is feeling the same exact way. There's not many people that come to this school that have millions of friends already. Like, considering 50% of the school is out of state, 50% chance the person sitting next to you knows like nobody. So you might as well talk to them. That's the big thing that's had the biggest impact on my success, is having friends in your major really helps when you can make like a study group, you can bounce questions off of each other, and it really keeps you motivated to go to class and gives you somebody to walk with, and get Starbucks after class with, and it just like really makes the whole experience a lot better. So that's my biggest piece of advice. So yeah.
All right. Yeah, I like that. Make those connections early on. Yeah, I think that's a good thing. All right. Well, I think that about wraps up our broadcast tonight. So I want to just thank everybody at home for watching our broadcast, and all of our panelists as well to give us our insights into the CIT department. This broadcast, you can rewatch it. It'll be on our Polytechnic live page. So it's polytechnic.purdue.edu/live. So you can watch this and other broadcasts that we have had in the previous weeks. If you didn't get a question answered, you still have something you want to know more about, please send us an email, techrecruit@purdue.edu. There's also a lot of resources, like I mentioned before, on our landing page for admitted students. So if you go to polytechnic.purdue.edu, there's an admitted students link, and you'll see all the videos, all the resources you can download, connections to our parent resource page, our social media, our Facebook group, anything you can think of. You can request a phone call as well from one of our staff members. So please reach out to us. We're going to help. We just want to make sure you get connected with us in any way that you can to get those questions answered. So thank you again for watching, and thank you again for our panelists, and just have a great night. And I'll end with boiler up.